So there's a dining table stored behind the driver's seat. Push a button there on the bottom of it to fold the leg out. You'll hear it click into place, and there's no catches or anything. You just get it at the right angle. Put it on the rail and locate it in the bottom there. It stops it slipping out. So you use the dining table or remove it. Also behind the driver's seat there's an outdoor table. And underneath the storage area on the near side of the van there are outside chairs, 4 outside chairs, and there's ramps for driving up on. If you're not sitting on the level, you can drive up on these 2 ramps to level out the van underneath here. Storage underneath the rest of the other 2 seats. Both have storage underneath them, and these seats here are travelling seats with full belts. These are the travelling seats. So the screens for the windows of the cab area are stored, one at that side, one at that side, and they're sided for the vans. So there's buttons for them. You simply button them on, and that gives you privacy and either heat or cold. Keeps the heat or the cold out. The front screens, just unbutton them, and there's one at each side, comes across, clicks in behind the mirror, and that gives you, closes you off at night. Put them back again, slip the buttons into place so they don't open when you're driving, and that's how you work these. So at night in the cab area, you'll lock the habitation door by just pulling the lever up the way, but instead of using the key to lock the cab area, because if you use the key sometimes the alarm goes off, you can simply reach over and click the padlock, and that'll lock the padlock, the cab area. In the vehicle, in the cab area, there is a USB in the radio for charging phones mostly, or whatever you want to charge, and there's 2 USB points in the cab as well. You're best to use these while you're travelling to charge anything up, because you don't want to use, if you're while camping, you don't want to use up all your 12-volt power charging your systems. Windows, 4 levers to keep them closed. Just make sure they're closed before you travel, because if they fly open, they will fly off. Open them up and use these buttons there to lock them in place, and they'll stay open. And then remember to release these when you close it, or it can damage the rams. And just, there's 2 settings. You can leave these open if you're not travelling, just to let a slight vent in, but make sure you close them to the tight setting when you are travelling, or they can be easily damaged. Various blinds on the windows, blackout blind for nights, and a fly screen. Side of the van, we'll start at the back of the cab. Fuel, it's diesel that goes in it. They usually go away full, so you just bring them back full, or whatever's in the tank when you leave. There's keys on the key ring to open them. There is no fuel station in Carnoustie, so be aware that you'll have to get fuel before you come back into Carnoustie. So it's fuel. If you go along to the next compartment, there's a leisure battery in there, which you'll never need to bother with, but that's where the leisure battery is. This is also where the hookup point goes in. So you'll have the hookup cables in a cabinet at the other side. You can't go wrong with the hookup cable. It's one end goes in the van, one end goes in the on site. You better hook it up this end first so that you're not carrying about a live cable across the site. So that just hooks in there. You can store it in behind so that it goes in that crack, and then you can close the lid if need be. So that's the leisure battery and the hookup, where the hookup goes for a 240. This is your water tank. You simply fill it with a hose, usually on site or wherever you can access a hose. It's lockable as well. Door, lockable from the outside and inside. Step, just goes away manually. Pull it out with your foot or your hand. So it's a manual step. There's a bike rack if you need it. The lockable bits on it. So this is the toilet carriage. This is to open all these cabinets, you press both buttons at the same time. This is the waste of the toilet carriage. So to release it, just lift it and it pulls out, slides in and out. It fills and empties from here. So when you're on site, you can only empty these on site at chemical waste disposal areas. So you carry it to the chemical area, unscrew the lid and pour it in. There's an air button here to help all the stuff come out, and then usually there's a hose for cleaning it at the chemical disposal point as well. So once it's empty and cleaned out, there's a little bit of water goes in it, just a couple of cupfuls maybe, and there's also stuff that you get along with the van to go in it as well. Again, maybe just a capful or a couple of capfuls go in it. Simply slides back in and it's ready to use from inside. In the gas cabinet, the tall cabinet, LPG. Again, this is the chemical that goes in your toilet. So you basically put a bit more than a capful, and that it gets rid of the odour and keeps it hygienic as well. So that's stored in the gas cabinet. Also stored in the gas cabinet is your hookup cable and some spanners if you need to change the gas bottle, some pegs for the awning that is in another video, and a fresh water pipe for filling up your fresh water with various different ends on it for different sites, and a couple of straps for a bike rack or whatever. The gas, it's got an on and off button on the top. When you're travelling, switch it off. Obviously when you park up and you need to use it, switch it on. It doesn't have to go all the way around, it just needs to turn on a wee bit. That's the gas on and off. If you run out of gas, I never know how much gas is in the canister, so if you run out of gas you have to replace it, but you may not run out of gas, I don't know, you should get it on most sites. So on the off side, driver's side of the van, there is a waste water drain, which you can drain on campsites. You simply drive over it. It should be marked on campsites. Grey water it's sometimes called. It's basically just the waste water from your sinks and your showers. Nothing to do with the toilet, it's just your sinks and your shower. And you just drive over the designated area and turn the lever and it drains. And that's That's all you do. Close it when it's finished, and that's you draining your grey water waste. You have to bring the van back to us with the toilet clean and empty, and the grey water waste emptied as well.
Okay.
So there's an outdoor awning, which is really for sun shelter rather than heavy rain. It is for rain shelter as well, but not for stormy weather. So this wind out handle is stored just behind the door. There's a couple of clips for it, and you close the door so it doesn't get damaged, hook it in and wind it out. You can wind it out as far as you want. Comes quite well out. You wind it out to access the legs. It makes quite a difference if you're parked up. So that's a wind out. You can wind it out that much or all the way, whatever. So to access the legs, they're stored in here on the end of the end of the awning. So they're clipped in. Unclip them, pull them out. You pull it out there, pull them down, and you can set them to any height you want. And there's pegs in the gas canister for pegging down the leg. So you can set these to a height, and then you just simply pull it back in again, pull the leg out of the way. Make sure this is clipped all the way in, and wind it back in again. And when you wind it in, you will wind in and it'll click into place. If it doesn't look right and it's not sitting level, just a bit, you have to take it out again and find why it's not doing it. That's a clip.